Phaeton and the Sun Chariot and Other Greek Myths. Phaeton and the Sun Chariot and Zeus Shining and Dionysus and the Pirates. By Geraldine McCaughrean, illustrated by Tony Ross. Phaeton and the Sun Chariot. Once, the weather was always pleasant, no matter where, no matter when. Each day, as now, the sun god Helios mounted his fiery chariot and rode through the portals of dawn, up into the sky. Nothing deflected him from his path across the blue cosmos, though each day the route changed a little, according to season. It was from up there that he saw the nymph climbing and fell in love with her. They had 3 girls and a boy Phaeton, and although the girls were content to help their father harness the horses to his sun chariot, Phaeton wanted more. "May I drive, father? May I? One day? May I, please?" "No," said Helios. "You haven't the strength. You haven't the art. The task is mine, and too much depends on it." But Phaeton kept on wheedling and pleading for a chance to drive the chariot, and his foolish mother joined in on his behalf. "Let him, Helios. Let him drive it. Just once. Then perhaps he'll give us some peace." "No," said Helios. But Phaeton was a spoilt boy and accustomed to getting his way. At last he wore out the patience of Helios. "Drive it, then. But for my sake and your own take care. Drive no faster than I drive, and keep to the appointed path." Angry at himself for giving in, Helios withdrew to a turret of dark cloud, away from his pestering family. Laughing and teasing, Phaeton's sisters happily harnessed the horses. Nostrils flared, hoofs stamping, the horses sensed an unfamiliar weight on the running board, unfamiliar hands on the reins. And no sooner did Phaeton lay hold of his father's golden whip than he cracked it in their ears. From standing, they leapt to a gallop, eyes rolling, teeth clenching the bit between their teeth. Dawn that day was a flash of orange on the horizon, and then it was noon. This was thrilling, exhilarating. Phaeton gave a whoop of triumph and braced his knees against the chariot sides. Perhaps a little slower, he thought. But when he did draw back on the reins, the stallions simply reared up and tossed their heads, wrenching his arms in their sockets, burning his hands as the reins pulled through his fingers. The chariot wheels left their well-trodden track. To left and right the chariot slewed, evaporating cloud banks, scorching flocks of birds. The world's soothsayers looked up and foretold miracles and catastrophes as the sun zigzagged around the sky. Phaeton tried to take control by flogging the horses with the golden whip. "Stop," I said. "Slow down. Stop." But the stallions only panicked under the whip, ducked their heads and plowed downwards, down towards the earth. Where the fiery blaze of the chariot passed close to the earth, its forests caught fire, and black smoke rose off waving fields of flame. Rivers turned to steam, lakes boiled, and even the shallow fringes of the sea dried to salt pans, white and peppered with dying fish. Phaeton pulled on the reins till his fingers bled. At the last moment, the horses lifted their heads before they could crash into the earth. But now they stampeded so high into the sky that the air was too thin to breathe. Far below, the earth was robbed of its warmth, crops died, the sea froze. Sweat streaming from the necks of Helios' horses fell in large, fluffy flakes, and rivers slowed into glaciers of ice. The blood vessels standing proud on their sweat-dark necks, the horses plunged up and down, to and fro in a frenzy of panic. And beneath them the face of the earth was transformed forever, burnt or frozen or flooded. The animals found their habitats transformed. The bears went north, seeking coolness, the penguins went south. Monkeys fled jabbering to the jungles, and the people sought shade or warmth. Phaeton hauled on the reins till the reins frayed through on the chariot's copper prow, and snapped. Helios emerged from his turret of cloud, his face white as the moon. "What have you done?" he howled. Zeus emerged from the cloudy citadel. "What have you done, Helios, letting a child play with your chariot? My world is in ruins, and what ruin is still to come if he isn't stopped?" From his armory of thunderbolts, Zeus took the largest. "No! No! Not my son," screamed Clymene. "No! No! Not Phaeton," cried his sisters. Zeus glared at Helios, and the sun god bowed his head. "It is the only way," he agreed. The thunderbolt flew with perfect aim as Phaeton clung in terror to the wildly veering chariot. It struck him on the forehead and he fell without a cry, terribly slowly, somersaulting and wheeling through clouds, past skeins of geese, and into the blue of the sea. The broken reins were found still gripped in his hands when his sisters carried him ashore and buried him. 3 tall slender exclamations of grief, they stood by his grave swaying and moaning. "It was our fault," they wept. "We helped to harness the horses." Seeing the 3 sisters, Zeus took pity on them and turned them into poplar trees, tall, slender and waving. But still they wept, tears of amber welling through their bark in big golden drops which caught the sun. Zeus shining. "Listen! Is that thunder?" Zeus and Hera must be quarreling again. Once, when Hera was particularly spiteful to one of his mortal sons, Zeus hung her over a cliff with an anvil tied to her feet. But all that did was make her 3 spans taller and put her in a bad temper for a century. And she could always find a way of getting back at her husband. Semele, Princess of Thebes, was so pretty that Zeus fell in love with her as easily as a pebble falls into a pond. Of course he visited her not in his own magnificent shape, but disguised as an ordinary mortal. She knew who he was, but was not silly enough to take advantage. For instance, she did not ask for magical presents, or to visit Olympus or to live forever. Zeus loved her all the more for that. Then Hera found out. Amazingly, she did not send monsters to imprison Semele, did not conjure sharks from the sea to devour her, did not hurl boulders at her out of heaven's windows. No, she just went and spoke to her, as one woman to another. "I quite understand," she said, smiling ever so sweetly. How could anyone resist the Almighty, the shining Zeus? Though you've never actually seen Zeus in all his glory, have you? Oh, you poor little thing. Never to see the true nature of your lover. How unbearable. I don't mind. Really, said Semele. But her curiosity had been aroused. What did he really look like, her marvelous immortal? She was expecting his baby by now. Who would the baby look like? Her or the shining Zeus? The very next time Zeus visited her, she asked him, "Show me yourself in your true radiance, my love. Show me the Zeus I have never seen. Show me Zeus shining." "No," said Zeus. "I couldn't possibly. You are a mortal woman with mortal eyes. No. Don't ask again." But Semele could not put it out of her mind. It gnawed on her day and night, not knowing, not being allowed to know. "You don't love me," she told Zeus. "You don't care one fig or grape for me, if you won't let me see you shining." "No," said Zeus, and stopped her mouth with kisses. "You love Hera more than you love me," said Semele the next time. "She's seen you, but I never have. Let me. Please? Please." "No," said Zeus, and went home early, slamming the door. "I think if I don't see you,